it's time to wake up and get on the rise with all things Chicago sports. And your host, Mike Napolitano.
I'm Italian. I get yelled at all the time. This is normal for me. Are you kidding me?
I love it.
With the Italians, we get really high, we get really emotional, and then we bring it right back down. And I'm just in the right back down part right now.
Dalton Cooper.
I think this is the year. I think this is the year he throws for over 4,000 yards. I think Ben Johnson has an understanding of how to take a quarterback and elevate. We've seen what he's done with Jared Goff. Obviously, Jared Goff had gotten his Super Bowl, and he was working with Sean McVay, but.
And Brandon Combs.
To tell me that a guy in Barry Bonds, who in 2004 has more hits and intentional walks than swings and misses. For a guy who watches Luis Robert and cheers him on, you're going to tell me Barry Bonds does not belong in the Hall of Fame? You are out of your mind, sir.
On WRMN 1410 AM, the voice of the Valley.
Welcome into another Saturday morning WRMN River Media Network Sports edition of On the Rise. Myself, Mike Napolitano, alongside our buddy Nick Johnston, back on the board and in studio.
Sir.
Welcome back. And then, of course, as always, Dalton Cooper. Dalton, how we doing?
We're doing well. We there's something going on in Elgin. I don't know what parade or whatever is going on, but we got here just in time. There's so many. I've never seen so many school buses in my entire life, fellas. There was at least 24 school buses.
The rain didn't help on the way in. Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah, it's a beautiful morning though. I mean, minus the rain, obviously. Good day to be a duck. Let's put it that way.
You haven't seen a whole lot of school buses, huh? Kind of explains that education. You got a lack of.
Never mind. Yeah, they. I walked to school a lot as a kid. So,
okay. Yeah. He closed his eyes when he got to school, so he didn't see the other buses. Yeah.
That locker was so dark.
Well, the locker's pretty dark for the Chicago Bears after this past week because it should have been a celebratory Monday night, but of course the second half for the Bears did not go the way it was planned. The Bears came out and looked good. I mean, you start out with a Caleb Williams rushing touchdown, and you kind of expect things to go the Bears' way, considering they're playing, yes, a very talented Vikings team with a very talented offense. However, leading that offense was J.J. McCarthy, who prior to Monday night had not taken a single snap in the NFL in a regular season game. And he turned it on in the second half, gentlemen. And J.J. McCarthy, he proved why he was such a high-round draft pick. He proved why he was the talk of the town when he was playing at Nazareth or IMG, or how he went virtually undefeated at Michigan. So, I mean, that man...
We proved he's him. Why that the Vikings were able to move on from Sam Darnold, why they were completely okay from doing that. So... It was exactly that, the tale of two halves. The defense was doing pretty well up until they kind of just gassed out. I don't want to give them the complete excuse, but didn't have their main, top tier DBs. Kyler Gordon was still out.
And linebacker was out too, right?
Yeah, Jalen Johnson was still out as well. It's still a DB, but yeah, so still some decent names on the defensive side. But the Bears just don't know how to win games just yet, whether you can attest that to them just still being young. Everyone now, just here on the way in these past few days, it's just all talked about, Caleb Williams leads the league in overthrows now. You can't make that simple pass, can't make that over. It's just like, I guess, again, if you're analyzing it, overanalyzing it, that's what you want to focus on, that's fine, but yeah, it does seem to be some of the simple plays just can't be done, or maybe it's just one small thing, and then there goes the confidence. It's a couple of different factors, but I mean, I'm sure we'll get to what needs to be fixed come from this upcoming game. So,
did you know the last time J.J. McCarthy lost a regular season game, he was in high school?
Yeah.
It was like 2018. Yeah, so that's pretty crazy.
My one buddy that's a Michigan fan, he just goes, all he does is win. I go, I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, do it.
The biggest takeaway for me, too, was just the consistency that, you saw it kind of swing momentum in this game, and I think the consistency that the Vikings showed, that they didn't really panic, even after that pick six, because I don't know about you guys, I was like, when it was... before that pick six, I was like, the Bears need a momentum swing because they have lost the kind of the feel of the game. And then they get that pick six, and it's like, oh, here we go. Like, we're in business. And then from that point on, it was just all downhill from there.
I believe it was it 17-6 and they
Yeah.
got that pick six. And, both, correspondents here on the show and guests of the show, Grant and Tilo, were watching the game. And I know Derek was in that chat as well, watching with the rest of WRMN out in Hampshire. And everybody in the group chat, right when that moment happened, right before the pick six, they were like, oh, no, like this is not good. This is falling apart. This is classic Bears. And then they get that pick six, and the group chat totally turned. I was at Cougars versus Dogs, and we'll get to that, but that was out in Geneva. It was a 25-minute drive home from me. In the time that it took for me to leave the stadium and drive home, the Bears were winning. I get to my house. I didn't fully put it in park in the driveway yet, and the group chat is blowing up. I hate this team. This is every year. This is the same thing. This is a joke. And I'm like, what the heck could have happened? I walk inside. There's 2 minutes to go, and the Bears are down. And I'm like, what is going on? There have been 2 coaches in the last 10 years in the NFL who have lost their head coaching debut after leading by double digits going into the fourth quarter. Those 2 coaches, Ben Johnson, as of Monday night, and Matt Nagy back in 2018. That is not good company to be in. Now, it's an odd stat. I don't fully believe that Ben Johnson is the next Matt Nagy. I don't think that this is the path that he is going down. But you got to admit, there's a problem here. It's still, maybe it's not, maybe it's reflective of this head coach to an extent, but I think it's more reflective of the organization as a whole. That there is still a problem with this Bears organization. I do think that they're going to have a better year this year. I am sticking by my prediction that they go 9-8, which is a huge improvement from last year. However, there's an issue, and we start to realize that I don't think Justin Fields was the issue. I don't think Caleb Williams is the issue. I think those overthrows are a little, I think fans are overreacting a little bit to the fact that he made a couple overthrows in crucial moments. Throughout the whole rest of the game, I thought he had a really good game. It was that defense in the second half that, yes, they may have had a couple of holes due to injuries, but they have a couple of holes even when fully healthy, and they're taking stupid penalties. They're allowing the Vikings to walk down the field, not just on plays, but just on false starts and penalties that you should have worked out of your system back in high school. Because if we want to talk about players that worked it out in high school, J.J. McCarthy, like you said, he worked things out in high school. You can't take penalties like that against that guy, and the Bears did, and they coughed up that game.
It was some disciplinary things for sure. You can't give up 120 yards on penalties.
Right.
Yes.
I don't want to give it all the excuses on the Bears side. It was the Vikings did go out and still win this game.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It was the adjustment of the Bears were shutting down Aaron Jones. He had I'm looking at it right now, 8 for 23 the entire game. But it wasn't until they put in Jordan Mason back there that he was making the big plays, the big runs, really, really opening up that run game for the Vikings.
That's what changed the whole game. Was that the Vikings could just literally turn around, hand it off. They were getting chunk plays just from handing the ball off to Jordan Mason. I mean, it was like 12-yard run, 13-yard run, play action pass right behind it. Yeah, just
if you're just looking at stats, when you make Justin Jefferson almost look like a pedestrian. I know he still made that big play and caught the touchdown, but 4 for 44, that's nothing. When you're the number 1, number 2, possible best wide receiver in the game,
he could have hurt
really
the Bears
nice.
a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is with the Bears with their secondary banged up as all could be. So again, there's some good takeaways still. There's still some negatives on the Bears side of things for sure. Why is DeAndre Swift the only running back that's getting running back touches? Obviously, DJ Moore's getting touches, but there's hey, we want to get him in space, but let's only run him up the middle for three times. It's just again, just poor decisions being made. My biggest takeaway for sure, again, also was 41 pass attempts. It turned into 6 rushes for Caleb, but 41 passes should not be the Bears' recipe for winning. It should be right around 30, 35 passes and just running it down opponents' throats.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was kind of my big takeaway, is that you speak to the culture. I think we finally have a head coach. That was one of the first things he said out of the press conference was we need to run the ball more. I need to call more runs. I need to tell Cairo Santos to kick the ball out of bounds, because everybody in the stadium and the whole city of Chicago knows that he can't kick it through the back of the end zone. That was in the moment, I was why is he not just kicking it out of bounds? It's a difference of 5 yards. And
there's new rules on the kickoff that he could have kicked it literally a foot and there would have been that same stoppage of the clock and the same penalty. And you're talking about giving them the 40-yard line rather than the 35-yard line. At that point in the game, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, if you could just shut them down and get the ball back, that's all you need.
It's insane. But then just the accountability, I think we'll see some adjustments. I'm curious to see what they do against Detroit. Detroit's offense looked a little suspect. The play action rate usage was way down, which is interesting to see. But it just the Bears as a total, that line of scrimmage play, man, that's what kills me, is that they were just consistently, and I think that's on the offense, because the offense is going 3 and out consistently in the second half, which is putting that defense on the field so much longer than what they were in the first half. So to your point, that's why they're getting gouged. You know what I mean? So the other thing that really was shocking to me is like how good Caleb was in the first half on those scripted plays. And in the second half, he gets to the unscripted portion to where you kind of make those adjustments that you're talking to, Nick. But his EPA, him being Caleb Williams on scripted plays, was 5, +5. Mm-hmm. And then his EPA on non-scripted play was -16. So, yeah, big variance there. I'm curious to see what they do against Detroit coming up.
You talked about Jordan Mason, 15 carries, 68 rushing yards. Caleb Williams actually led the way for the Bears with 58. He also had 210 passing yards. He was 21 for 35 and had that one touchdown in addition to the rushing touchdown. J.J. McCarthy, though, 143 passing yards, 13 for 20, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So, I mean, let's be honest. I was hyping at J.J. McCarthy. He wasn't perfect either. And actually, I believe Caleb Williams had a better game here, but it didn't shine through because of the fact that that second half, when it mattered most, J.J. McCarthy really turned it on. And, I mean, yeah, you could argue. I mean, more yards for Caleb, but more touchdowns for J.J. I mean,
player of the week right there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
You're fighting about.
Yeah.
27th in EPA, and this man is NFC Offensive Player of the Week. The other thing that I found fascinating, too, is that Caleb Williams actually had the 3rd longest amount of time to throw the ball this week out of all the quarterbacks. He had almost 3.5 seconds per drop back to get rid. So the offensive line actually didn't look that bad.
No. Notice we weren't really even complaining about that. So that may not be a complaint moving forward, because we've seen that he does have the time now in the pocket.
Yeah.
So
and the other big
we'll
thing
see
too,
if that left tackle is
he wouldn't throw the ball down the field. That's what killed me too. Like, they kept showing it in the first half where he was taking those checkdowns.
Screens.
Yeah, and like you could see him staring at an out route, or a corner route even, and he's not pulling the trigger. He's not seeing the field clearly. He's not throwing with anticipation. He's throwing with his eyes, which you can do in college. You can't do that in the NFL.
Yeah. It's still the Bears that they've been doing this for the last couple of years. They've been doing it. Whatever head coach that they've had, whatever quarterback they've had, it seems like they're scared to just gun the ball down the field. They take, let's throw a screen pass because we have the room on the sidelines. It's like, well, can you get somebody open in the middle? That would be nice. What the Bears are getting open is the move to Arlington Heights. It was announced right before Monday night's game by the Bears front office and more specifically Kevin Warren, that the Bears will be moving to Arlington Heights. They are pursuing that. I'm not going to read the entire statement regarding the Arlington Heights Stadium, but
I mean, everyone kind of knew. This is just making it officially official, basically.
Yeah. The biggest paragraph that stood out to me in this statement from Kevin Warren was, "We are at a pivotal juncture of the Chicago Bears franchise to build a new stadium, our future home in Arlington Heights, which will require 0 state money for construction." That is huge.
Love it.
This is the year to finalize our stadium plans so we can officially bid to host Super Bowl as soon as 2031. I guess somebody's disgruntled outside. Anyways, they should be happy about this. This is the moment to begin
news, pal.
Moving towards that future, and we want you with us. The Bears can host the Super Bowl as early as 2031.
Yeah.
What are you honking about?
Or WrestleMania.
Man. Yeah.
You know how many other
I'll get to
events
that,
can be
maybe.
there? I mean, hey, listen, yeah. And
Taylor Swift concerts.
And like you said, I'm pretty sure, well, let's settle down. But
Okay.
like you said there, all
That's so
right,
funny.
I'm about to go out there.
Yeah. Let them know.
The thing is I think, like you said, everybody kind of knew this was coming. It was just about actually putting pen to paper and making the statement and having the next chapter of the Bears be fully announced here. So
Do you guys want other good news?
Oh,
do you
of
know?
course.
Do you know that Caleb Williams only has to average 237 yards passing per game the rest of the season to break 4,000 yards?
There you
All
go.
right. All right.
So
Not too shabby.
we should get a countdown clock in here, or like maybe a ticker that is like on the back wall.
You can almost do it like in what was in Major League when he was taking off.
Oh,
the,
yeah, with
taking
the
off
win
a piece
streak.
of clothing.
Yes,
yeah, we
yeah.
can do that. Every
That's-
237 yards, you can just rip off a piece of
That's
his
funny.
jersey,
Oh my God.
or like put his nails like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
there
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Perfect.
Well, we'll see how many yards he gets this weekend. The Bears are in Detroit to take on the Lions, and we'll be talking about the upcoming matchup here for week 2 right when we return. But in the meantime, you're listening to AM 1410 WRMN. This is On the Rise. Myself, Mike Napolitano, Nick Johnson, and Dalton Cooper. I'm about to go fight that person.
Systems run everything. Government, economy, media, justice. They shape your choices, your opportunities, your future. But do they work for you or against you? On Apolitical Talk Show, we break them down, not to destroy, but to understand. Because if you don't see how the system works, you won't see when it's being manipulated or who's benefiting from it. Power belongs to those who know the rules, challenge the loopholes, and demand accountability. That starts with knowledge. That starts here. Join us weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. as we uncover what's really happening behind the headlines so you can decide for yourself what's fair, what's broken, and what needs to change. Apolitical Talk Show, breaking down the systems to build them up together. Right here, weekdays 4 to 6 on WRMN, the talk of the town.
Are you dreaming of a getaway? Want to leave the stress of daily life behind? Whether it's a relaxing cruise or an adventurous land escape, planning the perfect vacation doesn't have to be a hassle. At Cruises International, they specialize in vacation destinations, land and sea, making your dreams come true. Located at 1721 Moon Lake Boulevard in Hoffman Estates, Cruises International isn't just about booking travel. They're your personal concierge, trusted travel advisor, and advocate. Your preferences are unique, and they'll take the time to understand exactly what you're looking for. From personalized service to their global network of specialists, they ensure that your vacation is tailor-made just for you. It's time to plan the vacation of a lifetime. Call 800-255-7447. That's 800-255-7447 today and speak to a cruise and vacation expert. Cruises International. It's time to set sail to your dream destination.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
The new novel, titled DUI Jury Trial, is the true story of two lawyers who defend a truck driver who is charged with DUI. If he's convicted, this truck driver faces a lifetime disqualification of his commercial driver's license, which would prevent him from ever driving a truck again. This 3-year legal battle culminates in a courtroom showdown, which involves the testimony of a DUI expert witness. This book, DUI Jury Trial, is now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
This is Larry Jones, and I'd like to talk to you about my bank, American Eagle Bank in South Elgin. Has your bank changed names in the last 10 years? Is your bank another faceless branch with headquarters in another city? Are you tired of earning next to nothing on your savings account or certificates of deposit, or does your personal banker treat you like a stranger? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you're ready for a new banking experience, and American Eagle is the place for you. American Eagle is a locally owned independent bank that's rooted in the community, and American Eagle customers are greeted by name and treated with the respect that they deserve. American Eagle has an innovative program, Eagle Savings, that teaches your children to save while earning prizes and rewards. American Eagle offers great rates on certificates of deposit. My bank is located in South Elgin on Randall Road between the Target and Caputo's and is open Monday through Saturday. Give them a call at 847-742-7400 and a real person will answer the phone. American Eagle Bank, a place where you matter.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise. Myself, Mike Napolitano, alongside Dalton Cooper and Nick Johnson. You can find us on X. That is myself, Mike Napolitano. Dalton is Dalton Cooper. And Nick Johnson is njohnson6351. You can also find us on Instagram, Mike_Napolitano. Dalton Cooper, once again, Nick Johnson 42. But be sure to follow our On the Rise account. That is on_the_rise_1410. And that's on TikTok as well. So you can check us out on all the socials. We'll be posting all the content that we have here throughout the week from the various games that we are at. Unfortunately, we will not be up in Detroit for the matchup tomorrow with the Bears and the Lions, but the Bears will be taking on Detroit tomorrow at noon on Fox. That'll be Jared Goff, Caleb Williams facing off, and then, of course, Ben Johnson facing off against his former team. The Lions did fall to Green Bay in Week 1, 27-13. So both of these teams have given up 27 points in Week 1. We will see how things shake out here in Week 2. The Lions went up against a very tough Green Bay team. We saw Green Bay just win their second game in a row.
Yeah, I don't like
Thursday
how good
night.
they're looking.
Yeah, this is
We need to
scary.
get out in front of this. I don't know if I was listening to Barstool a little bit with Big Cat. He's like, the Packers should win the Super Bowl. Like, the Packers are the greatest team ever. He's like, hand up. If they don't, I'll be the first person to say that they're not. But I think we should adopt that same philosophy.
I don't want that to be the
like
case.
that. A little reverse jinx action. I love
Yes,
that.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
No, Micah Parsons is screaming already. This is, like I said, this is not good. I was saying this the other day. Like, I'm actually glad we don't have to face them until week, 13,
Yeah.
15,
Yeah,
13.
it's
and,
late.
like, very late, just, not wishing injury, but just the regular toll upon the season that's going to take, like, naturally, you're going to get these teams that are going to get banged up and down the line. And obviously, hopefully it gives the Bears opportunity to get right throughout the season. So
From the betting standpoint too, I would take the Bears this week with the points, but
that's where I'm leaning.
I think that run defense I'm still worried about. Like, I think this could be a big Jahmyr Gibbs game. Like, they're going to play action. They didn't use hardly any play action last week against the Packers because they were down so quickly, and I don't think that's going to be the case with the Lions against the Bears this week. So I
You
think
don't want Aiden Hutchinson screaming at you either.
Yeah,
so
that's going to be.
I'm kind of afraid of that.
That's
too.
going to be tough. But I cannot envision, if I shut my eyes, I can't see the Lions starting 0-2. I can't see it.
I
Yeah.
can't see that either.
kinda where I'm
ESPN has them at a 61.8% chance of taking this game over Chicago. Jared Goff had 225 passing yards in that Week 1. David Montgomery, 25 rushing yards. Laporta had 79 receiving yards. And who is this? This is Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
Had 9 tackles, same as the Bears so well. And, out for the Bears, Grady Jarrett, Ja'Day Walker, Kyler Gordon. I should say Grady Jarrett is questionable and Ja'Day Walker is doubtful. That's a knee and an ankle injury, respectively. That was as of estimated return September 14th. So they could be ready to go for tomorrow. Kyler Gordon will be out till the 21st. Austin Booker on the IR for his knee. I should mention Kyler Gordon's is a hamstring. And then Amen Agbagbinga, he's undisclosed, but should be back October 13th. So a whole month away from that. On Detroit's side, Taylor Decker is out with a shoulder that's questionable, that he'll play tomorrow. I'm not really recognizing a whole lot of these other names. There's a little bit of depth for the Lions. So the Lions are coming into this game pretty much healthy. Other than those names that I mentioned for the Bears basically are as well. So this will be pretty much a matchup to see who is where. That is, one more time, noon on Fox tomorrow. So we shall see. You're listening to AM 1410 WRMN. This is On the Rise. We'll talk about another team that is playing a Detroit team this past week.
Tune in to Big Top Sports
with Derek Geyer every weeknight from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
He'll have sports thoughts from the center ring of Chicagoland and to the outer rings from across the nation.
Weather from Chicago Cubs,
White Sox,
Bulls,
Bears,
Blackhawks,
Stars,
Fire,
Boomers, whatever the national story is of the day.
Geyer and his sports czar takes will either have you nodding in agreement,
Yelling at the radio,
or in all honesty,
A bit of both.
With the way the Chicagoland sports and sports are in general, there's bound to be
Thrills,
chills, and
oh my God moments.
so get your snacks and libations ready.
because this is going to be a wild ride.
Big Top Sports with Derek Geyer's quirky and insightful Fanatics take
will make you feel a little
Or a lot better about your Chicagoland sports viewing experiences.
Tune in to Big Top Sports with Derek Geyer. Every weeknight from 6 p.m.
to 8 p.m.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. That's 800-760-1845.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best thing you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
I know we're at an at-will state, but for making a comment, like, hey, your hair looks good. And then I got a call from HR saying, hey, you know what, you're under investigation. Do I have any recourse?
Were you fired?
No, not yet.
The problem, Eddie, is they can fire you for any reason they want. They literally can wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm a little bored this morning. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire Eddie for no reason. Yep, he can do that. That's California. Yep, welcome.
Handle on the Law. If you're injured and need a lawyer, go to handleonthelaw.com.
At Britain's Touchless Car Wash, they know life gets busy. That's why they're here 24/7 to keep your car looking spotless, fast, and easy. Their advanced brush-free wash technology delivers a sparkling clean without a single scratch, because they treat your car like it's their own. Here's the best part. Right now, you can get a free car wash just for joining their text club. It's simple. Just text BRITT to 30400, and your first wash is on them. Britain's Touchless Car Wash has two convenient locations, 1923 Larkin Avenue in Elgin and 555 Willow in West Dundee. They're proud to keep your car clean while giving back to our community. Text BRITT to 30400. That's BRITT to 30400. Now for your free car wash, and see why Britain's Touchless Car Wash is the fast, gentle, and reliable choice.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to River Media Network Sports. We have On the Rise here this morning from 8 to 10 a.m., followed by The Truth About Chicago Sports. But right now it is myself, Mike Napolitano, alongside Dalton Cooper and Nick Johnston running the board for us. I said we were going to talk about another team that really took it to a Detroit team already, and it was the American League leading Detroit Tigers that I was referring to, as the White Sox take 2 out of 3 from those Tigers. And this White Sox team looks good, and you can hear how good they are when you listen to WRMN. WRMN is the home for all of your White Sox games now and through the rest of the season, right here on AM 1410. But gentlemen, the White Sox won the battle with the Tigers. We talked about that win last Friday night, 7-5. Of course, they do fall Saturday with a 6-0 shutout loss, but then a 6-4 win in the rubber match on Sunday. And the White Sox, after a 4-game sweep of Minnesota, take 2 out of 3 from the division-leading and AL-leading Tigers. They had won 6 of their last 7 at that point. Actually, you can go back to that Yankees series. They had won 7 of their last 8. And then they came home first they came home for the Bears game. The White Sox were in attendance for that one, as well as the Bulls and the Blackhawks. But then it was a Tuesday through Thursday matchup with the Tampa Bay Rays. Unfortunately, Tuesday they went back into the loss column, a 5-4 loss, but they win on Wednesday, a 6-5 win. Tampa Bay almost comes back late. And then Thursday, I was there. The Sox manufactured 2 early in the first. They batted around in the 6th to really open up the lead, 5-0. Kyle Teal at that point had reached base safely in 20 consecutive games, which was tied with Bo Bichette for the league lead. The White Sox get the 5-1 victory, and that's the White Sox 3rd straight series win. That 4-game sweep of Minnesota, the 2 out of 3 from Detroit, and then 2 out of 3 after they take yet another rubber match, this time from the Tampa Bay Rays. So it was a good week for the White Sox. Of course, they dropped last night's game 4-0 in Cleveland, and they'll resume this weekend. But, hey, they're trying to avoid that 100-loss mark as of right now.
Yeah, I think that's the goal, obviously, but a little bit of that, a little bit of playing spoiler. You got a couple teams on the way out that they could that they're trying to do so. I know Cleveland's just on the outside looking in for a wild card spot, but just exactly that. Winning games has been nice. Breath of fresh air, obviously. I was joking, at that time the White Sox were on a 6-game win streak, and then I'm like, all right, of course they got to throw in Skubal because the Tigers are afraid.
Yeah,
they're afraid of the White Sox. I get it, I understand. But yeah, this last stretch of games has been nice to see. Just getting wins against big, nice, again, contending teams between the Rays that were, up there pretty well. I always feel like they're right.
Yeah, they're
there.
floating. Yeah.
They're just managed always very well. Same thing with the Tigers. They're number 1 in the AL. So it was nice to see them just get right. Man, Colson Montgomery's just been so much fun.
Yeah.
In that same breath, you mentioned him too. Kyle Teal has been on an absolute tear. I think he's been one of the best hitters. I think he's just hovering right around 300 as of late. The OPS is up right now too, so it's been nice. Just this nice core of Edgar Quiro, Colson Montgomery, Chase Mydroff, and
Miguel Vargas.
Yeah, and Miguel Vargas in there as well.
Yeah,
a nice little core right there. Just I think Kyle Teal, like I just mentioned as well, that all those guys mixing in well. A couple of pretty young, talented pitchers coming up on the way up as well. So this is looking good again. It's on paper. If you're battling to not have 100 losses, that shouldn't be the goal, of course. But again, this is much better upgrade from last year. Again, where we said it last year. Even if they get 20 wins from last year, there's still going to be 100 teams, 100 wins, 100 losses. Excuse me, not 100 wins.
I'd love that.
But this is kind of where we're at. Progress, and we love it.
Yeah. 57-91. The White Sox are currently sitting at. They're 27 games back, of course, in the AL Central, but I don't think anybody's paid attention.
No, they got eliminated.
Sometime. They've been eliminated officially.
Week. Yeah,
this past week from playoff contention. But you know who else is already eliminated is the team that is even worse than them, which is the Colorado Rockies, who last night tied the White Sox 2024 win total. So the White Sox will continue to have that record that nobody wants to have of the worst regular season in modern baseball history as of last year, if the Rockies win one more game. They're at 41 wins and 107 losses. They're playing 277 baseball. The White Sox, though, 385 baseball. And you mentioned that core. You know who came quite practically out of nowhere is that Will Robertson out in left field making a phenomenal leaping grab over the wall in Comerica Park just this past weekend against the Tigers. And, I mean, everywhere you turn, all of a sudden, I think I said this at the start of this season is, there's not a whole lot of hope and promise in this pipeline because we weren't seeing Colson Montgomery develop into who he needed to be. We weren't seeing, and when I said that, there's always pitching. We've talked about the arms. We see some arms get traded at the trade deadline because, like Adrian Hauser, because they've been pitching so well. The White Sox have prided themselves on either lefty pitching or just pitching in general, and they have these key pieces, but these key pieces end up being key pieces for other teams. They haven't had a solid rotation. They haven't had a solid batting order. They haven't had solid fielding all around. But now things are starting to come together. And quite frankly, out of nowhere, the guys that were supposed to develop, the Colson Montgomerys, they're developing. And the guys like Chase Mydroth that I don't think anybody had high hopes on in the pipeline. Will Robertson, I had never even heard of him prior to Sunday.
I got another name for you. Wickelman Gonzalez, who came out of nowhere as of late. CHSN dropped this he dropped this graphic just a couple days ago. 9.1 innings pitched, an ERA of 0.96 right now. His whip is 1.07, only 5 hits allowed, 15 Ks, and an opposing batting average of just 0.156 right now. So an absolute tear. They called it a wickle in time.
And the team itself has been hitting 305 in September so far. So they hit 250 in August, they hit 251 in July. So their on base percentage has gone up every month. Their slugging percentage has been hovering around 400 or 432. So they've been playing much more consistent baseball. And is it going to continue? Can we get excited for next year? I mean, I hate to say it.
I think we can. And you know why? As I mentioned how that pipeline came out of nowhere and this farm system was ranked, I think, 29th. So there was no hope for the future for this White Sox team. Well, they've come up and they've done well at this major league level. And there seems to be no shortage and no drought in the pipeline because the Birmingham Barons, AA, the affiliate for the White Sox, they've clinched the Southern League's second half North Division title for the second year in a row. The Barons will host Chattanooga in a best-of-3 series beginning September 16th, with the winner advancing to the finals on September 21st. Birmingham won its 7th league crown last season. So the AA level is there. It's starting to come around. And even at this major league level, I mean, you look at the other night, it was that 6-5 win where Tampa Bay almost came back. The White Sox had to call upon their bullpen quite a lot. Actually, so much so, 8 pitchers were used, which is the most by a White Sox team in a win at home since August 5th, 2008.
Oh, wow.
There were also 8 pitchers used in that game. It was a 6-5 win in 12 innings to defeat the Yankees. But that night against the Rays just this past week, it marked the first time the Sox used 8 pitchers in a 9-inning win at home ever. Tyler Gilbert became the 35th Sox pitcher to notch a 1-batter, 1-strikeout save and that's his 52nd save overall. I mean, that's it. This is incredible. It really is starting to come together and out of nowhere. I'm not going to praise the front office too much just yet because, like we said, this is still on pace to be a 100-loss team. They only need to lose 9 more games, and they could be a 100-loss team, but there's promise. There's reason to be excited on the South Side going forward, where I think at the end of last year there was anything but that, and there was just a darkness that loomed over.
There's still
the
stuff
South
to
Side.
take pride in, obviously, but again, you want more. You want more, and then I think there's still that fight. Chris Getz wants more, and I feel like there's progress is a step in the right direction. It's a humongous step in the right direction, going from what was again unwatchable baseball to like, all right, maybe I can get this guy, maybe I can get these kids a chance. Let the kids play.
As long as they're wearing those City Connect jerseys, I believe.
Yeah, honestly. Which City Connect ones? The Bulls ones, 2.0s or the 1.0s?
They were.
I like them both.
I'm gonna say they were undefeated in those for a minute. I think they were like 4 or 5-0.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
now,
On Friday nights they had lost.
What's the only time they wore them,
over,
right?
They had carried it over to a Saturday early on, and they lost that one. But then I actually went to the first Friday night game in which they lost in them. So I'll chalk it up as me. That was my fault. Yeah.
Keep going.
There are
keep telling everyone that.
there are 14 games left in this season, so it is doable for the White Sox to hit that 100-loss mark, but I think they're trying to avoid it as best they can. They'll be in Cleveland again today at 5:10 and then 12:40 tomorrow. Monday, they'll be back home against Baltimore. That's a 6:40 first pitch. Tuesday is 6:40 against the Orioles as well. Wednesday will be a 1:10 matinee. And then the final homestand of the season will be Friday versus San Diego. That's a 6:40 start time. Saturday, 6:10. And Sunday, another matinee game, 1:10. And then there will be 6 more games on the road in New York and Washington after that. You can catch all of those games on CHSN, which is now available on Comcast. But you can also listen along if you don't have that channel. I know many still don't have that channel. You can listen along right here on AM 1410 WRMN. As far as watching more baseball, There's going to probably be some baseball into October on the north side. We've got the Chicago Cubs right here on AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise. Nick Johnston, Dalton Cooper, and myself, Mike Napolitano.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers' rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM.
They're simple, boring, never thought of until they're needed. They're windshield wipers. Only when Mary Anderson became annoyed that New York trolley drivers were stopping to wipe their windshield by hand did anybody do something about it. By attaching a spring-loaded arm to a rubber blade, one woman made travel easier and safer. Look to innovate and pass it on from passiton.com.
We are AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees. We represent 700,000 federal and D.C. government workers who are the vital threads of the fabric of American life. We support our nation's military. We take care of our nation's veterans. We protect our nation's borders. We respond to our nation's crises and natural disasters. We provide services to our nation's seniors. The American Federation of Government Employees. We work for America.
We are AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees. We represent 700,000 federal and D.C. government workers who are the vital threads of the fabric of American life. We support our nation's military. We take care of our nation's veterans. We protect our nation's borders. We respond to our nation's crises and natural disasters. We provide services to our nation's seniors. The American Federation of Government Employees. We work for America.
When disaster strikes, flood or fire, every second counts. At Emergency Construction Group, they specialize in immediate response and same-day service for any residential, commercial, or industrial emergency across the Chicagoland area. With over 30 years of experience, they've got the expertise, manpower, and equipment to handle any size loss fast. They follow strict IICRC guidelines to restore your property the right way, the first time. Their team values transparency, constant communication, and strong ethical standards because your peace of mind matters. Licensed, bonded, and insured, they're here for you 24/7, 365 days a year. Call 855-4ECG now. That's 855-432-4669. Or visit their website at emergencyconstructiongroup.com and let Emergency Construction Group put your life back together one step at a time. That's Emergency Construction Group. Your satisfaction is their passion.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Before the weather gets too cold, it's time to finish up those outdoor jobs. That's why ComEd wants you to know that electricity can jump from a power line to you and to the tools you're using. So maintain a safe distance from any power lines. You can also call ComEd at 1-800-EDISON-1 to have those power lines de-energized the next time you do any work around them. Stay smart, stay safe, stay back. ComEd, powering lives.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise. Myself, Mike Napolitano, Nick Johnston on the board, and Dalton Cooper to my right. We've got some more Chicago baseball for you here, and it is still on the Major League side of things. Don't worry, we will get to the local side of things because that has been electric, to say the least, as well. But we have to go into this Cubs season, which is kind of still just chugging along here. It's been quite literally up and down for the Cubs. As we last jumped off, they were they got that first win over the Washington Nationals in a series that they desperately needed to take after, they had a couple of series wins against Atlanta and Colorado, but they had that San Francisco series in which they dropped all 3 games, and that was a chance to really catch up on those Brewers. Well, this was a chance to catch up on the Brewers again, facing Washington at home, and the Cubs drop Saturday 2-1 and Sunday 6-3. So they lose both the middle and the rubber match in that series and kind of get the rug pulled out from under them by a struggling Washington Nationals team. Then they dropped that first game on Monday against the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta, a 4-1 loss. They do come back into the win column with 6-1 wins and 3-2 wins on Tuesday and Wednesday before they had their off day for the week on Thursday and then resumed back at home against Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay stays in town. They just shift over from the south side to the north side. That's a 6-4 win for the Chicago Cubs, and they'll look to play Tampa Bay 2 more times today and tomorrow, both 1:20 starts. But gentlemen, 3 straight losses, 3 straight wins. It's been, quite frankly, mediocre for this Cubs team. And as they're set to play, it looks like the Padres in that first round of the postseason, in that wild card round. I don't know if I see the Cubs continuing to have the dominance that we saw at the start of the season, especially carrying into the playoffs.
I mean, what's good with them right now is they were, like I said, pretty light schedule on the way out. Tampa, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, New York, or the Mets, because they're just metting it up right now.
Yeah,
and the St. Louis Cardinals to kind of finish it out. So while their schedule is pretty light, they still have to really stay focused. They're kind of in that, that weird purgatory where they're not going to win the division, even if, the Brewers are still going to be.
They're only 5.5. They're closer to what they've been the last 3 weeks.
It's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Yeah,
the Brewers could,
they would need to fall off the face of the earth, and it's just not in the I feel like it's just not in their. Not
they
in their
didn't
future.
last night.
Yeah, but like you said, it's just maintaining that spot of maybe not going to win the division, but still want to maintain that number 1 spot in the wild card because you don't want to lose that at all either. Or any rankings there.
Every time you keep saying number 1 spot, I just think of Ludacris. That's all I'm thinking in my head. But continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you.
Very good. Yeah, again, it's like you don't want to, like I said, you want to stay focused. You don't want to lose that edge. But like I said, it's tough when you're just sitting there all right, like I said, we know that big piece, what we want for sure in the division isn't there. But again, gotta stay focused. A wild card can still make a run for it. And we've seen what happened 2 years ago with the Diamondbacks. So
yeah, the offense is still trending in the wrong direction. Currently in September, they're hitting 239 as a team. So they're on trend to have their worst average as a team. They only hit 227 in August as a team. So that's pretty tough. Yeah. And the bullpen is shaky to say the least, probably to put it lightly. And I don't know about anybody else. I'm not going to raise my hand and be a Cubs homer, but I don't have a lot of faith in the back end of that bullpen. Oh, and I don't know about you guys, but the Padres probably have the best back end bullpen in the league. I think they have the most shutouts in the league this year as well. I think they're 14 or 15 as a team. So yeah, it's, I don't know what to be excited about. And I guess the only thing is I think Soroka is coming off the injured, the DL. I think he's getting healthy. So we might see him, which is another interesting facet, him going from the White Sox, from the Nationals now back to here. Mm-hmm. So, and then Kyle Tucker's health is another big thing. So
that's been the talk of the last 2 months or so. Well, a month and a half, I guess, since the trade deadline. But it was also Soroka because there were rumors that the Cubs knew he was injured when they were acquiring him. So we'll see if he bounces back from injury well here. But at the same time, you knew he wasn't going to help you immediately, and you needed to make this playoff push towards the end of the season. And is he going to be ready for playoff time? And even if he is healthy and can get on a mound, is he going to be the guy that you signed, or is he still going to need some time to kind of, get back to baseball?
And Palencia has been dealing with inflammation in his right shoulder too. So he's been on the 10-day DL. I think that's the closer, right? So just the inconsistencies are going to be tough to overcome.
They may be more successful, this Cubs team, than the Southsiders, the White Sox, but I think Cub fans will say they are just as frustrating in other ways. But we will see what happens. As Nick said, that they have a little bit easier of a schedule coming up. I mentioned those 2 Tampa Bay starts. Then they go on the road to play Pittsburgh for 3 games at PNC Park, 5:40 on Monday. That'll be on MLB Network.
They get Skeens coming up.
5:40. Yeah, that'll be that first game. Horton versus Skeens. That'll be the one to watch. Tuesday will be on regular Marquee Network, 5:40 p.m. Tyon versus Oviedo. And then it'll be Wednesday, an 11:35 a.m. matinee start time. That'll also be on MLB Network, and that'll be Boyd versus Keller. Followed by the Cubs staying on the road, staying in the division. It'll be a 4-game set with your Cincinnati Reds.
Nice.
6:15, 5:40, 5:40, and 12:40 respectively, Thursday through Sunday. Fox on Thursday, MLB Network on Friday, and MLB Network again on Sunday. So this end of the Cubs season is going to be put on full display on national TV, and then we will see how that fares with them going into the playoffs. One thing I will mention before we go here, we didn't touch upon it last weekend. Friend of the show, Sammy Sosa, we did a signing with him at Old Republic back in end of February, beginning of March, or beginning of February. I forget when it was, but Sammy Sosa was inducted into the team's Hall of Fame. He returned to Wrigley Field for the first time in 21 years, where he and fellow inductee Derek Lee received their plaques and their jackets during a ceremony on September 7th. And that he wasn't the only Cub. We could talk about that, but he wasn't the only Cub to be honored it was announced that this other Cub will be honored. Anthony Rizzo will be signing a 1-game contract to retire as a Cub.
They should give him an at-bat. He could still rake. I think he can. Yeah, I was going to say, there's no way he can't get in that box and hit.
One home run to go, right? Yeah. I could see that happening.
But no, it's a great thing to see. Obviously well-earned. Brought the championship in 2016.
They could do the same thing with Sammy Sosa. I mean,
yeah, there you
go. he was in that home run race, and 1 home run to go. Just put it in the lineup. The 3rd spot, Anthony Rizzo. The 4th spot, cleanup spot, Sammy Sosa. Maybe throw Derek Lee in the 5th spot, and you get a nice little core right there for the Cubs.
I had a quick one really with Paul Skeens as we're wrapping up right here. The DraftKings dropped this. If Pittsburgh had only averaged 3 runs of support in each of Paul Skeens' 53 starts, he would be 33-5. If they had 4 runs, he would be 36-1. So basically, if he was on the Yankees, he would be undefeated.
Yeah,
so,
no kidding.
Crazy.
So just wanted to throw that out.
Do you think
there.
Anthony Rizzo would be a better cleanup hitter than Dansby Swanson?
Oh my God.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Hey, you're listening to AM 1410 WRMN. This is On the Rise. We've got more baseball, more winning baseball on the way here with the Schaumburg Boomers on the Rise. Oh.
At Britain's Touchless Car Wash, they know life gets busy. That's why they're here 24/7 to keep your car looking spotless, fast, and easy. Their advanced brush-free wash technology delivers a sparkling clean without a single scratch, because they treat your car like it's their own. Here's the best part. Right now, you can get a free car wash just for joining their text club. It's simple. Just text BRITT to 30400, and your first wash is on them. Britain's Touchless Car Wash has 2 convenient locations, 1923 Larkin Avenue in Elgin and 555 Willow in West Dundee. They're proud to keep your car clean while giving back to our community. Text BRITT to 30400. That's BRITT to 30400. Now for your free car wash, and see why Britain's Touchless Car Wash is the fast, gentle, and reliable choice.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 9 o'clock.
Breaking news this hour at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump and all living former presidents have issued messages of condolence following the murder this week of Salem Radio Network talk host Charlie Kirk. And foreign leaders, including Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, have also weighed in. On the Salem Media News program this week on Capitol Hill with Tony Perkins, U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee also took time to remember his friend.
The assassination of Charlie Kirk was one that just hit all of us hard. I've known Charlie since he was probably 19. One of the most remarkable people. I called him a force of nature. I've never seen anyone who had his intellect, his winsome spirit, his capacity to deal with people who are hostile, but do it in such a gracious, compassionate, and godly manner.
Charlie Kirk's funeral will take place next weekend in Phoenix, Arizona. 2 universities fired employees due to social media posts made after the assassination of Kirk, according to school officials. Here's correspondent Bernie Bennett.
University of Mississippi Chancellor Glenn Boyce said in a statement posted Thursday afternoon to social media platform X, quote, yesterday, University of Mississippi staff member reshared hurtful and sensitive comments on social media regarding the tragic murder of Charlie Kirk. These comments run completely counter to our institutional values of civility, fairness, and respecting each other's personal dignity. Middle Tennessee State University President Sidney McPhee said in his own statement Wednesday that an employee at the school, quote, offered inappropriate and callous comments on social media concerning the horrific and tragic murder of Charlie Kirk. I'm Bernie Bennett.
Wall Street coasted to the finish of its best week in the last 5 on Friday. The S&P 500 barely budged and edged down by less than 0.1% from its latest all-time high. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dipped by 0.6%, and the NASDAQ Composite was up by 0.4%. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-226-5454. That's 800-226-5454. 800-226-5454.
Missouri Republicans have handed President Trump a political victory.
The Republican-led Missouri Senate has approved a redistricting plan that could help Republicans win an additional U.S. House seat in next year's elections. Having already passed the Missouri House, the Senate vote sends the measure to Republican Governor Mike Keogh, who's expected to sign it into law. However, opponents have announced a referendum petition that, if successful, could force a statewide vote on the new map. Missouri is the 3rd state to take up redistricting this year. I'm Mike Hempen.
Congressional Republicans' approval rating outperformed their Democratic counterparts for the 2nd time this year, according to the latest Fox News national survey. 33% of registered voters approve of the job Democrats in Congress are doing. 66% disapprove. Their Republican colleagues garner a higher 38% approval. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Vice President J.D. Vance transported Charlie Kirk's casket to his home state of Arizona on board Air Force Two.
The vice president honored his close friend and political ally with a final flight aboard his military aircraft. Vance and his wife flew with Kirk's widow, Erica, from Salt Lake City to Phoenix. Earlier, the vice president helped carry Kirk's casket with a group of uniformed service members as it was loaded onto the plane.
That is White House correspondent Greg Clugston reporting. The family of the young Utah man accused of shooting Charlie Kirk told authorities he had recently become more political and recounted a dinner table conversation where they discussed whether or not the conservative influencer was spreading hate. That's according to a probable cause statement released on Friday. A judge ordered Tyler James Robinson held without bail. You'll find more of these stories at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise. Nick Johnston on the board. Dalton Cooper to my right. Myself, Mike Napolitano. And we got even more baseball to talk about here on the Rise.
Playoffs.
It's been a heck of a playoffs here for Chicagoland baseball. Of course, we're not there quite yet for the major league level, but we are in full swing in the Frontier League. We left off last week with the Boomers moving on from that first round, facing Lake Erie in a best-of-3 series. They won in 2. They would play the Gateway Grizzlies, who had been trailing them in the division. Only 2 games separated these two teams during the regular season. Boomers, of course, taking that division by the end of the season. But this was a best-of-5 with Gateway, and I spoke to Deputy Commissioner Matt Shepherdson before Tuesday night's game, and he said when they did the analytics and they did the simulation for this series between the Grizzlies and the Boomers, it was 48%, 52. He wouldn't tell me which way it swayed, but this series was supposed to be a coin flip, basically, between these two teams. In fact, Tuesday night, you saw the Gateway Grizzlies come out strong with 2 solo home runs in the first inning, and it didn't look good for the Boomers. They responded with 4 runs in the bottom of the first. I mean, this team wasted no time getting right back into things. Banks Tolley hit a 3-run shot, and Kyle Fitzgerald added to that insurance later on in the game when it was 9-6 with a 2-run shot. So the Boomers take game 1, a commanding 11-6 victory. And they had runners on base in every single inning. That's quite the stat right there. And by they, I mean the Boomers. But Wednesday night was the real storyline in Schaumburg. A complete game for Westchester native Derek Salata. We got a chance to speak to him after the game. You can go ahead and check that out on all of our social medias. That is On the Rise 1410 on Instagram and also on TikTok. Salata goes 9 innings pitched, gives up no runs, only 5 hits, 11 strikeouts, including 2 in that 9th inning, I believe. I don't think it was 3. I think it was 2 in that 9th inning. And then no walks en route to a 9-0 shutout win for the Boomers. They take games 1 and 2 against Gateway at home. You had another Anthony Calarco double. I mean, those had been a staple throughout the playoffs and even the regular season. The man led the league in RBIs and broke records doing so. Schaumburg had bases loaded 6 times thus far in the series between that first and second game. So they go into Gateway last night with a 2-0 lead in the series. And what do? They get the job done, a 4-2 victory. And the Boomers have punched their ticket to the Frontier League Championship, which will begin Tuesday and Wednesday. And then the home games in Schaumburg will be Friday and, if necessary, Saturday and Sunday of next weekend. So the 19th, 20th, and 21st would be games 3 and potential games 4 and 5. Dalton, you've seen this Boomers team firsthand.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts as of Wednesday night after that incredible performance?
Even the couple regular season games I took in, for their offense is just so good. Their offense, they are just relentless. They take every at bat. They don't give at bats away. They do all the little things right. That was my big thing. Was they make you pitch to them, and they are patient, but they are also aggressive, which I know doesn't really go together or sound right. But just that's my big takeaway is they seem to feed really well off of each other also. Like as soon as you get a leadoff hit, there's always there's another hit right behind it. Like it never seems to be a break in the action. So they've got all the mojo going right now. I have a hard time seeing this team slowing down anytime soon. They get the only thing that maybe gets in their way is just this, 3 or 4 day break they're going to get just from timing and purposes. Obviously, I'm not a professional baseball player. I don't know if the rest versus rust is always an argument, but
right.
Honestly, that's my big takeaway is that this offense is not afraid of anybody. They impose their will on whoever they face. I mean, I think every game except for one this year, I've seen them score 6 or more runs in every game, which has just been phenomenal. I mean, you just brought that Paul Skeens stat, right? If Paul Skeens was on the Boomers, he'd be undefeated, pal. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think that's a given.
But yeah, that's like I said, that's my big takeaway is that this offense can keep rolling. Look out. Just look out.
I mean, this team, you watch them take the field, you watch them step up to the plate, and you don't have a whole lot of worry. I mean, I did say that I worried a little bit when they went down 2-0 to the Grizzlies in that first inning of this series, just because we hadn't seen the Grizzlies, since the regular season, and like I said, only 2 games separating these two teams. It should have been a coin flip, and yet here the Boomers are. They go, I'm not going to say that word. They sweep Lake Erie in the first round. They sweep the Grizzlies in the second round. I'll let you deduce what I'm saying right there, but the Boomers are headed to the championship. They punch their ticket as quickly as possible. They are waiting on the winner of the series in the East. That is between the Quebec Capitales and the Tri-City Valley Cats. Now, the Valley Cats lost last night 17-2. So Quebec leads that series 2-1. That could be decided as of tonight unless they go to a decisive Game 5.
Hope he took the over.
There was a walk-off for that win. Yeah, no kidding. There was a walk-off for that win for Tri-City, but Quebec is the one and only team that has actually defeated the Boomers in their history in a series, and it was the championship in 2022. So we might be setting the stage for a rematch of the finals of 2022 here, and 2 juggernaut franchises going at each other. There's still some of that same core from the Boomers from those years, I think, still on this Boomers team, and I would imagine Quebec, I haven't had a chance to check at their lineup, but I would imagine there's some familiar names there as well. So we'll have to see. We spoke to Marshall Schill of the Firefighters in the Banana Ball League back at Banana Ball, and he was actually on that Quebec team in 2022, but he got traded at the trade deadline, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so.
We may have to talk to him soon.
Let's get him in.
To get some Quebec information. Of course, it'll be by next Saturday, and this championship may already be decided, but Quebec, they are... They're a strong team, so we will see. As I said, the championship starts on Tuesday and Wednesday. It'll be at the winner of the Atlantic side, and then it'll be Friday and potentially Saturday and Sunday at Boomers. So we're poised for a great series here. The Boomers, they went all the way in 2013. They went back-to-back in 2014. They missed the playoffs in 15 and 16. They go all the way in 2017. They missed the playoffs in 18 and 19. There wasn't a season in 2020. 2021, the Boomers go all the way and win the championship. 2022, the Boomers go all the way and lose the championship. Like I said, it's the first ever series loss in franchise history. 2023, they lose the wild card game by a score of 4-3 to Evansville. So 1 run short in a wild card game. It wasn't even really a series. It was just a game. So the Boomers don't make it a point to falter come postseason. They missed the playoffs by a half a game last year, and they're back with a vengeance this year.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the Boomers, Nick. They're corner outfielders, man. These guys are thick. These are some thick fellas.
Like these meaty boys out there.
These dudes.
Aaron Simmons had a catch and a half yesterday,
and even Michael Gold. Both of them, man. The legs on these guys, they are just like they are thick fellas. Like I feel bad for that baseball. That's all. Like that was another big thing I took away was like these. Like they look like they've gotten bigger since I've seen them in like July or.
Well,
August.
how about Anthony Calarco?
Oh, I mean, he's been a man. Like the dude's like every bit of 240
Even his brother
pounds.
Alex and catching. Yeah. I don't know how the gear fits him.
Yeah.
That man is ripped.
6'5", 250 pounds for Alex Calarco playing catcher. And then, like you said, his brother is 6'4", 240. So this team is like an offensive line when they come off the bus. Like they will physically intimidate you. They're like the Eagles, man. The Eagle one, they're great coming off the bus. Yeah.
So we have some other big gentlemen, I should say big on big gentlemen here in the minor league baseball world, in the independent baseball world, as we will shift gears and talk about the Kane County Cougars, who are facing the Chicago Dogs. We'll get to that, and the American Association, along with the Miles Wolf Cup playoffs, right here on AM 1410 WRMN.
Start your weekend right with Dino's Night Out, Fridays from 2 to 4 p.m. on WRMN 1410 AM. Dino covers what's hot across the Fox Valley, from live shows to food fests and everything in between. Proudly sponsored by the legendary Arcada Theater at 105 East Main Street in St. Charles. Your home for unforgettable concerts, comedy, and more. Tune in on WRMN 1410 AM or stream at WRMN1410.com. Dino's Night Out, your guide to the weekend vibe.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
A loved one owns a gun, and for a while now, you've been concerned about their behavior. They're just not acting like themselves. They've been distant, they've been unpredictable, they've been lashing out. They've been saying things that make you worried they might harm themselves or friends or family. Or you're worried this loved one might hurt you. Maybe they recently threatened someone with their gun. You know something needs to be done, and you wish more than anything you could hit pause on this situation. Well, here in Illinois, you can, with a firearm restraining order. In extreme cases, this order temporarily prevents a person in crisis from having a firearm, giving them time to heal before they do something dangerous or even deadly. If you are worried about a loved one in crisis who has access to a firearm, learn more about firearm restraining orders at illinois.gov/pause to heal. A public service announcement brought to you by the Illinois Department of Public Health, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Ever tried balancing a dozen eggs in one hand while hopping on one foot? Or maybe juggling cats while riding the unicycle? Sounds ridiculous, right? But guess what? That's exactly what texting while driving is like. Your human brain only has the capacity to focus on one thing at a time. So when you're behind the wheel, give driving your undivided attention.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Clutter happens, but junk doesn't have to weigh you down. At the Junk Luggers, we're your full-service junk removal and hauling pros, tackling everything from single-item pickups to major cleanouts. We handle the heavy lifting, and with our commitment to the Green Way, we rehome and recycle to keep your unwanted items out of landfills. So, whether you're clearing out the garage, downsizing, or saying goodbye to old furniture, we make the process eco-friendly and easy. Call 1-800-LUG-JUNK or visit junkluggers.com today. Let's save your space and the planet together.
Hi there, Tammy Scully here from Talk Time with Tammy and Friends. Join me and my sidekicks, Nancy and Becky, for valuable lifestyle tips and unique views and insights on interesting topics and everyday situations, providing nonstop fun and chuckles for all. Get the scoop on consumer news, deep dive on current events, and learn about the newest economic trends, from exercise and gardening to music, travel, recipes, sports, pets, real estate, media, and everything in between. And it's all sprinkled with a healthy helping of bad dad jokes and interesting fun facts to boot. Tune in Mondays through Thursdays from 2 to 4 p.m. for a little fun, frolic, and infotainment. Join us, won't you?
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise. Nick Johnston on the board. Dalton Cooper hanging out with us as always. And myself, Mike Napolitano. We have more independent baseball to get to. There's a second league. Don't forget it. Here in the Chicagoland area, it is the American Association. Instead of 3 teams in the Chicagoland area, like we have with the Schaumburg Boomers, Windy City Thunderbolts, and the Joliet Slammers of the Frontier League, we have 2 teams, and they are going head-to-head in the Miles Wolff Cup playoffs. That is the Kane County Cougars and the Chicago Dogs. But how did we get here? Nick, you got to see a little bit more of that Dogs series with the division-leading team from Oconomowoc, the Lake Country Dockhounds, who, if you weren't tuned in last week, we all know that the American Association allows the first overall, the winner of the division, to pick between teams 2, 3, and 4 on who they want to face. They chose the number 2. They wanted the 1 versus 2 matchup. So it was the Cougars facing the Milkmen for the 3-4 matchup. And let's just say the Dockhounds chose wrong.
Yeah, they wanted an early vacation.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted.
That's nice. That's what they wanted.
No, it was good. Like I said, I don't know what goes into the mindset of, hey, let's pick this team for this reason. Let's pick this team for this reason. Could have been, again, scouting wise, maybe this better fit.
It. I was hearing from Aaron Schellen, friend of the show and broadcaster for the Dogs, head-to-head matchups during the regular season.
I'm
playoffs
sure. Like
can be
I said,
a different beast.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure they probably went analytics wise, and again, it's just a matter of like, do you want to go the money ball route, or do you just want to say like, hey, let's just get the best players on the field, maybe against the lesser talent? That probably should have been the route in that sense. I'm not quite sure, but obviously you're getting the best of the best whenever you're getting in this playoff realm right now. So it was nice. Like I said, nice for the Dogs to go ahead and get the wins that they have so far. This has been an exciting series right now between the Cougars and the Dogs right now. Obviously, we're talking Game 5 coming up tonight.
6 p.m. at Impact Field over in Rosemont. Get on over there.
Get on over there for first pitch over there. It's been nice little showing out for these past few games. I personally didn't see anything out there for Game 1 and Game 2, but Game 3 was nice. Like I said, other than the 7 runs in the top of the 7th.
I'll tell
for the
you,
Cougars.
Does Todd Lott live in your dreams, by the way?
Yeah, he is just. I'm like, you know what was it? Like Barry Bonds, close enough, right there.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, Barry Bonds.
Welcome back.
Todd Lott is not human. I'll tell you that right now. This man has hit 2, not 1, 2 grand slams in the same series, in the same week. Game 1 at Northwestern Medicine Field in Geneva. This man rips a grand slam to put the Cougars up and give them the...
Did he have 2 homers in Game 3, or was that just the 1?
There was 2 homers. It was the grand slam, and then just to add insult to injury, the solo shot
I think
in the 9th.
both of those probably combined, we were talking about in the booth, like combined... like distance-wise, at least 900 feet.
I was just about to say 900 feet. Yeah, easily. Yeah, that man...
he hit it a country mile. Like, it was a big one.
It hasn't even landed yet.
Oh, yeah, no. We always joke, like, it can hopefully one day is going to go over the net and onto the highway.
I was kind of joking. Is there testing in this league? I don't know.
Nah.
No, he's just a very big
he eats his
built
vegetables.
Dude. Yeah, that's for sure. I got a chance to talk to him on Monday night following that 10-3 decisive Cougars win. But even before that, the Cougars had a little bit rougher of a time getting to this second round. They won that decisive game that I spoke about last week up in Milwaukee, a 2-1 comeback win. But then we were talking about that 12, was it 12-1?
It was 12-0, I think.
12-0 loss that the Kane County Cougars suffered to the Milkmen, and they go to a winner-take-all Game 3, and it came down to the 9th inning where Claudio Final steals third after Nick D'Alessandro moves him over to second, former Dog as well. Yep. Moves him over to second in that 9th inning, steals third on a pass ball, and then another wild pitch gets Claudio Final home on basically stealing home to walk it off for the Cougars. One of the weirdest walk-offs you'll see. However, it happened the night before in the Kansas City Monarchs and Fargo Moorhead Redhawks game in the 15th inning. So just some absolutely crazy baseball going on all around the American Association. But That's how
15, you don't hear 15 innings anymore.
No, that's what I was.
Especially with the second base runner now and extras, that don't happen no more.
And a walk-off wild pitch to end it too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's how your season ends, right?
Yeah.
If you're
a hat on a hat.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So the Tuesday night game, the Dogs took a 5-0 lead in the first over at Northwestern Medicine Field, and that held up despite a Josh Allen 3-run home run in the third.
He's been hot in this series,
He
too.
has been hot in this series. The series shifted over to Impact Field as of Thursday, and the Cougars went down 1-0 in the second. That got built up to a 4-1 lead for the Chicago Dogs. We talk about that first series. The Dogs made short work of the Lake Country Dockhounds. A walk-off in game one. That was a very much so a back-and-forth affair, 11-9 in that one.
Yeah.
And then they go up to Oconomowoc and get the win in game two. But this would be their first game back at Impact Field since that first series, and they looked like they were comfortable. A 4-1 lead going into the seventh, and next thing you know, they load the bases. Cougars not only tie it up, but the bases were still loaded for Todd Lott to hit that second grand slam of the series, of the week. That guy is easily player of the week. And then, of course, he adds, like I said, insult to injury with a home run, solo home run in the ninth to make it a 9-4 Cougars victory. They take a 2-1 lead in the series. Dogs have not led in this series, but their backs were against the wall last night. Josh Allen hits another 2-run shot early on to give the Cougars a 2-0 lead. And just as it seemed like the Cougars were going to close out the series, the Dogs come back late innings. They put up runs in the 8th and the 9th. Seventh and the 8th.
I think was like when it's, and that was the crazy thing about last night's game is they didn't have a single hit until that home run tied it. That was like,
and then it was 4 straight pitches. It was a 2-run shot, a solo home run to take the lead, and then
a double, I believe, and a single. Yeah.
And so
I was directing the game last night, and I was telling, I'm in Aaron's ear, and I go, hey, do your best to reverse jinx this. So right around the third or fourth inning, you kept mentioning, hey, they don't have a hit just yet. They got no base runners just yet for the Dogs just now. I'm just like, come on, keep going, keep hammering it.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I think this is a good time for this.
Sure.
So you mentioned you working at the Dogs, which is great. So last night was my first night at Impact Field.
Okay.
Great establishment. I recommend everybody go out to Impact Field, check out a game. Great ballpark. Like I said, I had two quarries. One is minor. The one exit only. This is the major problem I have with Impact Field. Okay, so they have two mascots, right? So they've got Squeeze, which is mustard. They couldn't give Ketchup a better name than Ketchup. They literally named him what he is. My big thing, that was like, it drove me crazy. I had went there, like I said, first night ever. They come out on the gator or whatever on the back. They're waving. Everybody waved to Squeeze and Ketchup. And I'm like, to Ketchup? What do you mean? Like, it's like getting a dog and naming him Dog. Like, you literally named him what he is. Like, it's like we sat in a marketing room, in a marketing meeting for like 2 hours to come up with Squeeze, and then we just kind of didn't care what we named Ketchup. I just, like I said, that's my only problem that I have with the whole operation. Other than that, it looks like a great ballpark, great team. Like I said, once they started hitting last night,
Ketchup is the villain. You don't put ketchup on a hot dog.
I understand that, but you got to give him a name. You can't just name him what he is. That just seems like it's like they didn't care. And I guess it ties back into the whole villain thing. But like, what are we doing? Like, I thought from a marketing standpoint, I just feel like it just seems a little silly. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, we got a Rally Pickle as well. We got plenty of mascots.
And Rally Pickle race the pickle. It's literally just a pickle.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, why? How
They
we not
couldn't call him
incorporate?
like Vlasic or Kosher or Dill.
Can we not get like Heinz to sponsor? Like, at least make it a sponsor opportunity. Like, this is the ketchup sponsored by
It's definitely possible.
your ad here.
I get you. I feel you. I understand. I
didn't know if you ever paid attention to that as a Dogs employee.
No, I mean it's definitely something to consider for sure. Yeah, Ketchup and Squeeze. Yeah, but it's still a good ring to it though.
Yeah, like shake and squeeze. Like, just give him like something like swirl. Even you could like swirl. Something. It's got to be. That
I've also been a good part of like relish. I want to do like a relish in the moment part of the game. Like we do about we do have the replay of the game, so I can kind of maybe try and switch it up. Right. Like
you have an emotional moment. You could call it cutting onions.
That lived in my mind for the whole game last night. I was like, how in the world could we name this thing what it is? Like, it just, I was just taken aback by it.
And again, funny enough, my buddy does the PA when I'm up there, and I went out in game 3 to go adjust the camera, so I hear him over the intercom. He goes, "Everyone, welcome Ketchup and Squee." And I guess he didn't let go of the button. So I came up there like, "Ketchup and Squee, just Squee."
I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, check out Game 5 tonight, though. Yeah, Cougars.
6 p.m. Cougars, Dogs, Impact Field in Rosemont. It's a winner-take-all to go to the championship.
Marcus Chu's gonna make a big impact tonight. Mark my words. He's been cold.
I'm on the same boat for the Dogs. Jacob Teeter's been really cold, but it's the other left-hander, Chance Sisco's been red hot right now.
He had that walk-off against Lake Country. So.
Yes, sir.
More right here from AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise.
If your idea of therapy involves a fishing rod, a tree stand, or a campfire, then you need American Outdoors Radio. Host John Cruz speaks your language, whether it's about the best lures, tracking game, or that one buddy who always forgets to bring the beer. John's got the tips to sharpen your aim, the hacks to pack lighter, and the stories to keep you entertained. Again, that's American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz. Saturdays at 7 a.m. on WRMN 1410. Or stream it at WRMN1410.com. Get ready to outfish, outhunt, and outcamp them all on American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz.
When disaster strikes, flood or fire, every second counts. At Emergency Construction Group, they specialize in immediate response and same-day service for any residential, commercial, or industrial emergency across the Chicagoland area. With over 30 years of experience, they've got the expertise, manpower, and equipment to handle any size loss fast. They follow strict IICRC guidelines to restore your property the right way, the first time. Their team values transparency, constant communication, and strong ethical standards because your peace of mind matters. Licensed, bonded, and insured, they're here for you 24/7, 365 days a year. Call 855-4ECG now. That's 855-432-4669. Or visit their website at emergencyconstructiongroup.com and let Emergency Construction Group put your life back together one step at a time. That's Emergency Construction Group. Your satisfaction is their passion.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
In the middle of the night, everything will be all right if you listen to Coast right here on WRMN, 7 days a week from midnight to 5 a.m. Each night on Coast to Coast, listeners are captivated by George Noory with discussions on news and current events, conspiracy theories, UFOs, life after death, and all things curious and unexplained. Coast to Coast, every night, midnight to 5 a.m. right here on WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
If your restaurant's grease is causing problems, don't worry. Hopkins Grease Company is here to help. Since 1947, they've been providing reliable grease recycling, grease trap services, and more for restaurants across the Chicago suburbs. With a full fleet and expert staff, they offer quick professional service. And as a family-run business, they pride themselves on delivering personal service you can trust. Call Hopkins Grease today at 847-458-1010. That's 847-458-1010. Hopkins Grease, the Fox Valley Grease Boys.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise. Nick Johnston on the board. Dalton Cooper right here in the studio with us. Myself, Mike Napolitano. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials. That is On the Rise 1410 on Instagram and TikTok. All of
and
us
Facebook.
Facebook.
And
Yes.
Facebook.
And all of us are just our names, basically. You can find us pretty easily through there. Mike_Napolitano, Dalton Cooper, Nick Johnston, 42. Be sure to tune in to all the things that we are posting and covering, which included a lot of that independent ball that we talked about this whole last week, pretty much every single day. Wow, that's a...
Yeah, make sure to follow
cool
WRMN on Facebook as well. The station has a Facebook page.
We got a parade going on.
Yeah, there is a parade outside, and it was like a dog seeing a squirrel. I was like, whoa, big float over there. That's pretty cool. So,
hey, you love the brass section, you know?
Yeah, honestly.
Big tuba guy, this guy.
As we were talking...
Mike likes the senoritas.
Nice.
Sure. I don't know what you're talking about.
I did have Chipotle for dinner last night.
I should say. Muy bien. I almost went Italian, said molto bene. But just a couple notes wrapping up our minor league talk. We had a comment in here. Josh Allen reminds me of Jake Allen, just another below major league star, although Jake moved up to the NHL. Well, Josh Allen should remind you of Josh Allen.
He should have had a second home run last night, too. I thought that ball he hit in the ninth was gone.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, God, I just wanted extra baseball so bad. Anyway.
Quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, JA-17, Josh Allen 17, is close to Josh Allen 7, JA-7 that plays for the Kane County Cougars.
Great cleats.
True. What is he rocking?
He's like the United, like We the People, like American flag cleats that I was a big fan. They're a little worn now. I unfortunately hasn't gotten a new pair, but like I think I saw them back in like July when they first, and they were slick.
That's a good thing that they're
real
worn.
nice.
That's a good thing. Like we mentioned, Game 5 tonight at Impact Field between the Dogs and the Cougars. Winner moves on to the Miles Wolf Cup final. The Cougars are the defending champs. They went undefeated in the playoffs last year. Unfortunately, they have 3 losses now this year, 2 to the Dogs as they're going to this decisive Game 5 and 1 to those Milkmen in that Milwaukee series. But let's get on over into another Northwestern Medicine Field. That is Northwestern Medicine Field at Martin Stadium. That was where I was on the lakefront last Sunday for the Chicago Stars FC women's soccer here in Chicago. That was against the defending champions, the Orlando Pride, and superstar in women's soccer, Martha, was on that Orlando team. However, that didn't matter as the Stars got their second win of the season and first under their new head coach and first during the second half of the season. It was actually the first home win in almost an entire calendar year. It was a 5-2 win. Sam Staub gets her first ever free kick goal. That's the first ever free kick goal from a center back in franchise history for the Stars. Ludmila gets her first assist in her career. And Jamise Joseph and Julia Grosso also added to the lead. All 7 goals in this game were scored in the second half. It was 0-0 after halftime. And then I don't know what happened, but things just exploded. We kind of asked the head coach after the game what that was. And even they couldn't decide what had happened in that game, but that is going to be the future home of women's soccer, Northwestern Medicine Field at Martin Stadium over at Northwestern University. So you're going to get a chance to see all of women's soccer on the lakefront next year. But for the rest of this season, they will still be at SeatGeek Stadium. That will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. against the Portland Thorns. Portland is 8-5-6 with 29 points. They have won 4 of the last 5 meetings against Chicago. And then Friday, September 19th, the Stars will be on the road at Shell Energy Stadium to face the Houston Dash. That's a 7 p.m. kickoff. Houston is 6-5-8 with 23 points. Chicago, of course, sitting at 2-8-9 with 14 points. But the future is bright here. Of course, they took a little bit of a blow this year with not having Mallory Swanson. She's been out. She's been pregnant. So, out for good reasons, but I don't think they were planning on that. But the pieces that are here and the pieces that could come to Chicago in the future, I think the future is bright for these ladies, and especially being on the lakefront. They say it's going to connect them better to their fan base, so we will see what that entails for the future of Chicago soccer. Now, Chicago soccer on the men's side of things is going to eventually be at the 78. So you have both of these teams moving within the next couple of years. Sounds like the Chicago Fire will be breaking ground on the 78 in 2026. But last Saturday, they were in SeatGeek Stadium because the Bears were coming back home to play against the Lions. So that pushes the Chicago Fire back to their original home over at what was Toyota Park, now SeatGeek Stadium. That was against the New England Revolution. That was a 3-2 victory. Jonathan Bamba gets the scoring started just in the 2nd minute of this game, and Philip Zinkernagel gets the goal in the 10th minute. Hugo Kuipers gets the solidifying goal in the 68th. New England does come back late in this one with a Peyton Miller strike in the 78th minute, and then Carls Gill scores in the 4 added minutes of the second half, and that was on a penalty. So it did kind of come down to the wire, even though it was a 3-0 lead for Chicago. They do like to make things interesting, but they are pushing for the playoffs. Teams 1 through 7 in the MLS on both sides of the table make the playoffs, and then teams 8 and 9 qualify for wild card matches. Chicago is in 9th, sitting right behind New York City FC, and that is who they are set to play this weekend. That is tonight at 7:30 p.m. So if you aren't headed over to Impact Field to watch some baseball, head down to Soldier Field. 7:30 kickoff against New York City FC. They are 13-5-9 with 44 points, right ahead of Chicago, who are sitting at 12-6-10 with 42 points. And not a whole lot of time left here in the season. I believe playoffs start mid-October and could run in through November. So could get cold up here in Chicago, but the Fire are still looking to stay hot. See what I did there?
Yeah, nice. They do have a 2-point cushion on 10th as well. So they're 2 points ahead of New York, and they're 2 points behind New York. So which is kind of funny now that I said it out loud. But yeah, they're
New
2
York
points.
Red Bulls are behind them. Yeah.
Yeah. So they got a little cushion. But hey, I mean, the way it was looking early in the season, they've definitely turned it around.
Yeah, no doubt. And just a few games left, as I said, in the season. They're looking to take one of those wild card spots or hopefully move up even further, although that would be quite the jump in the Eastern Conference. And that'll pretty much do it for our soccer talk here as we kind of look towards the future for both of these franchises. We've got soccer and football now back here in Chicago, so that's fun to watch. But we still have some basketball going on. One season did just wrap up, and another team is just starting to sign some deals. We've got more basketball for you right here on AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise, myself, Mike Napolitano, Nick Johnston, and Dalton Cooper. Stick with us, and at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock, it will be The Truth About Chicago Sports with Marcus Mack, Sophia Blackburn, and Blake Cowell. You're listening to River Media Network Sports.
Attention all sports fans. Get the latest issue of the Chicago Sports Journal featuring player profiles, team schedules, ballpark photos, and more. Visit chisportsjournal.com. Chicago sports fans are raving about the latest issue of the Chicago Sports Journal featuring owner profiles, book reviews, cafe, bar, and restaurant reviews, specials, and more. Pick up your copy of the Chicago Sports Journal at Metro train stations, retail locations throughout Chicagoland, or visit chisportsjournal.com today.
It's easier than you think for pests to threaten your family's health. Ticks, which spread dangerous diseases, hide in tall grasses and even on your pets. Rodents easily invade your home, contaminate food, and can carry more than 35 diseases. Mosquitoes, which breed in standing water, transmit many diseases. Get the facts you need to protect your family at pestworld.org. It's that easy. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
Children are the greatest joy and our best hope for a better future. Friends, they are the future. But did you know that millions of kids right here in our own backyard are facing hunger every day? Without healthy food, it's harder to grow, to thrive, to feel their best.
The impact when children don't have enough to eat is tremendous because when you're hungry and your basic needs aren't being met, you cannot learn.
Every child deserves to be fed. This is a problem we know how to solve. Food is not just food. It's energy, health, confidence, hope, and even love. Yes, love.
Breakfast in the classroom contributes to kids being more focused, which leads to higher grades, and simply just their well-being.
Thank you! Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
Are you dreaming of a getaway? Want to leave the stress of daily life behind? Whether it's a relaxing cruise or an adventurous land escape, planning the perfect vacation doesn't have to be a hassle. At Cruises International, they specialize in vacation destinations, land and sea, making your dreams come true. Located at 1721 Moon Lake Boulevard in Hoffman Estates, Cruises International isn't just about booking travel. They're your personal concierge, trusted travel advisor, and advocate. Your preferences are unique, and they'll take the time to understand exactly what you're looking for. From personalized service to their global network of specialists, they ensure that your vacation is tailor-made just for you. It's time to plan the vacation of a lifetime. Call 800-255-7447. That's 800-255-7447 today and speak to a cruise and vacation expert. Cruises International. It's time to set sail to your dream destination.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. That's 800-433-3082.
AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise as a part of our River Media Network sports group here. You've got Nick Johnston on the board, Dalton Cooper to my right, myself, Mike Napolitano. And if you thought things were heating up for Chicago baseball or Chicago soccer, why don't you take a look over, or I guess even Chicago football, although the Bears looked a little cold in that second half. Why don't you take a look at Chicago basketball, both on the men and women's side of things? No, things are not quite heating up on the court for the Sky as they wrapped up their season last Thursday. They go out on a 4-game losing streak that was losing 2 games out in Las Vegas to the Aces by a score of 80-66 and 92-61. But then they come home for the final game of the season on 9/11 against the New York Liberty. 91-86. So it was Hoops for Troops night. I was in attendance, and wow, was it a roller coaster of a show from start to finish for the final game for the Sky. Of course, the speculation is, will the Chi-Town Barbie, Angel Reese, stay with the team throughout the offseason?
Yeah. Quite the controversy. I didn't expect that right away.
It just, I mean, the whole situation of like her doing that interview and then literally the front office. And from my perspective, she didn't say anything wrong. Now, did she say something that maybe was, maybe you shouldn't say? Okay, maybe, calling out, maybe saying we don't have good enough players.
Like she said a lot of things she probably shouldn't have said.
But yeah, Sophie Cunningham of the Indiana Fever would agree with you. She said there's some things that you just shouldn't say. End quote.
She also wanted
got
her
fined
shoes
for
to be
that.
$1,000. I think that's what the quote was. I think they finally settled at $150.
Yeah, but just man, I don't know. But you could definitely tell. I mean, this team is drastically worse without Angel Reese on it. Like, Maddie Westbelt had a great night. Shout out to her.
She did.
She had a career
high 25 points. Her previous career high 10 points.
Yeah, so it was great to see that. So I guess if anything, looking forward to next year, getting that development going is great. But I don't. Nick, they got one point guard, bro, and she's going to be 34, coming off of an ACL tear,
coming off injury, and that was what you and I were talking about last week. Is some of those comments
not quite entering her prime.
Yeah, I know. So some of those comments that Angel Reese were making were about Courtney Vandersloot and how they can't just expect and rely on her to come back at
Which I think is very fair.
Which is, yes. We talked about that last week. I think is very fair. I did criticize the fact, I said, have you seen how Vandersloot was playing beforehand? Now, yes, getting older, who knows if she comes back from injury the same way, but I think she has the drive and the hunger to do so. She's been around the team all year despite the ACL injury. However, the comments that I think a lot of people, including her own teammates and the own organization, were upset with, which was why Angel Reese sat the remainder of the season, was she said, unless this organization is going to put, and I'm paraphrasing here, but she said, unless they put good players around me, I might look to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't say that.
I mean,
what
every other great player that the Chicago Sky have had in recent memory have all done the same thing. They've all asked for their trade out of Chicago. Like Candace Parker comes in, wins a championship, literally a Naperville, native, hometown hero, wins championship, asks for out.
Was honored this year. You were at that game.
What was the other point guard?
Did Elena Deladon?
Elena Deladon was another one. But the girl
Quigley?
the girl that spoke at Candace's Hall of Fame speech, Cooper, I think is her last name, or something along those lines. Same situation. She came in, wanted the team to do a little bit more around her, and then asked for her release or trade or whatever. So there's 4 or 5 instances in recent memory of the Chicago Sky not being able to hold up, quote unquote, their end of the bargain in the players' eyes.
Kalia Copper?
Copper, thank you. Yes, thank you. Appreciate the stats department.
Not
on that
related
one.
to you.
No, unfortunately not. But I just felt like it was so taken out of proportion. I feel like she didn't say anything wrong. Yes, she probably said some stuff that she probably shouldn't have said. I could probably agree with everybody on that. But like the fact that she is not wrong in the way that they've been running the organization. I mean, it took them this long to get a practice facility that is kind of up to par with the rest of the league, and yet this is supposed to be one of the premier cities in the WNBA.
There's a big mention in a lot of the exit interviews was this new practice facility coming, which I believe is going to be in Oak Lawn, which seems a little weird to me that they're going that far out from, I would imagine most teams like the Bears are moving out of Chicago, but Oak Lawn seems like a little bit of a hike for a team that's still going to continue to play at Wintrust Arena. So we'll see how that goes. But even the team itself was a little hush-hush about what was going to happen with Angel Reese. She did parade around the court. She got a standing ovation when she walked out. Not dressed for the game, but dressed, from head to toe in very fancy. I'm not sure, what designer it was this time, but she got a standing ovation from the crowd. That was after, and listen, I don't like to get political on this show. I leave that for, what's his name?
Sonar.
Mr. Sonar. He keeps things straight up the middle, but there were some young people that were getting, what's the word?
Rambunctious?
No. On the court, they were inducting. I want to use the word inducting, but they were getting sworn in to military service. And there was a whole ceremony, and there was mention about the office, the presidential office. And regardless of who's in office, this was about the ceremony for those people who are about to dedicate their lives to standing up for our country. And people booed, but then they cheered for Angel Reese coming out, who, as I will say, she made those comments, and she's fighting for her team and for her organization. And those fans, they are fighting too. There were a lot of signs in the crowd that said "Fire the GM."
Fire Jeff.
So I think Angel Reese and a lot of the fans are on the same page. So I could see the uproar and the cheer for her. But the other thing was about the troops, and it's 9/11, and don't ruin their ceremony. Don't boo them. It doesn't have anything to do with them. So it was a roller coaster of a night, to say the least. And then Angel Reese parades around the court at the very end of the night. She said hi to Muggsy Bogues and such. So that it looked like that would be her last time in Chicago.
Yeah, she took Chi-Town Barbie out of her Instagram profile, out of her bio. So,
but the GM of the Chicago Sky says that they are keeping Angel Reese despite late season stripe. Was the news that broke per ESPN's Alexa Filippo yesterday. So
yeah, it would be interesting to see what they could get for Angel Reese, honestly, in a trade, like a sign and trade kind of deal. Yeah. So, but yeah, just back real quick to the point guard situation, like. I think it's very fair, obviously with Vandersloot coming back, but you can't expect Vandersloot to play 30 to 35 minutes coming back off it. And the other thing too is she is the only facilitating point guard, and we saw that very much this year because they tried to put Ariel Atkins there, they tried to put Rachel Banham there, they tried to put
Rachel Banham stepped up in a lot of different positions that she wasn't normally in this year.
And the only problem is all these other guards they have, they're all two guards. They're all off the ball point guards. Like Ariel is a great two. If she is playing off the ball, she is fantastic. She can shoot, she can knock down mid range. Rachel's the same way. Rachel can stretch the floor. She's probably a little bit better 3-point shooter than Ariel is. And then you got Rebecca Allen behind her, and just like the way they could set up this offense, I think would be really good if they could have just a second facilitating point guard, and they could almost do like interchanging at that point. They could have like hockey lines because then you could have Reese, maybe play by herself without Cordoso, and then Cordoso could come in with the second team, and they can continuously work that paint area. But it's gonna be interesting to see what they do in the off season. They showed signs that this team could play with the big teams in this league, or like the top rated teams in this league. So I think there is some talent there. They just got to figure out to put it all together.
Yeah, well, we talk about some big signings in the basketball world here in Chicago. Switching over to the Bulls side of things, the Bulls announced that they have signed Josh Giddey, who is 22 years old, to a 4-year, $100 million deal. He scored 14.6 points per game while averaging career highs in rebounds, 8.1, and assists, 7.2, steals, 1.2, and 3-point field goal percentage. That was at 37.8%. He posted 7 triple-doubles this last year, which is the second most in a campaign in Bulls history, trailing Michael Jordan in 1988-89, who had 15. Okay, so we're still quite a ways away from Michael Jordan, but I mean, hey, Josh Giddey, he did what he was brought here to do for this Bulls team. Now, if they could just kind of build around him. Thoughts on the signing? You think it's the right number?
Love it. I like that. That's a nice number. Good amount of years. Restricted free agent. So when the 4 years are up, Bulls will have an opportunity to match it come that time. So yeah, he'll be 26 around that. Yeah, that's nice. Like I said, I like the trade that he initially came with, only for Caruso, basically straight up.
Yeah.
So I like the opportunity, and like I said, I love the numbers that he was coming back with. So this will be nice. Build around him and the young, obviously Matas Bazelis, and a couple more pieces along the way.
Yeah, completely agree.
With the WNBA season over, we'll head more into G League and NBA this fall. And then also the United Center will be busy for WRMN because we will be there for Blackhawks as well. It was announced that Steve Larmer and Duncan Keith were selected as the first 2 names in the Blackhawks Hall of Fame as voted by fans, media, and alumni. The Blackhawks training camp has also begun as of Thursday. AJ Spellacy did take a skate to the face, but he was okay, and no stitches, but a little bit of jarring after the fact. But both gentlemen afterwards said it's just hockey. So good to see that they're still teammates at the end of the day. And that's important because the prospect showcase will begin today, Saturday, September 13th, same time as first pitch over at Impact Field. The Blackhawks will be taking on the St. Louis Blues. And then tomorrow it'll be a 3 p.m. puck drop between the Blackhawks and the Wild. Of course, those aren't home. That's the prospect showcase that they have elsewhere. But Blackhawks hockey is coming back. And next week we have to talk. I don't know if we're going to have time to now. Did you want to get into it?
What's that?
Kirill Kaprizov.
Oh, no,
turning down. Well, I'll just say
that's not Chicago news yet.
Not yet, but turning down a huge contract from the Minnesota Wild, 8 years, $16 million.
I thought it was 17.
17 million.
Yeah.
So does he want out of Chicago?
Out of Minnesota.
Minnesota.
There was
and into
rumors,
Chicago.
But we'll see. And preseason hockey starts on the 20th, by the way, so that is coming.
Oh,
the preseason schedule kicks
hockey
off.
and basketball
We're already here. Yeah, we just got football.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of that, shout out to the Illini. They play today.
Our correspondent
Northwestern,
Blake Cowell will be there.
Nice. And Northwestern is taking on Oregon.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
on the lakefront.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's not a bloodbath for Northwestern. I have bad feelings about that game. I think Oregon is one of the best teams in the country. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, shout out to college football. Hopefully, the Illini won last week. They beat Duke. Hopefully, they keep playing strong. They're 9th in the country right now, Michael. We got to talk about this team a little more.
Oh, yes. That's for sure. We'll have more football for you next week as well as fantasy, but stick around for the truth about Chicago sports right here on AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise, myself, Mike Napolitano, Nick Johnston, and Dalton Cooper. We'll see you next week.
Love you guys.
Get your fantasy lineups in.
political party poopers got you down? Shake it off and join me